Madam Chair, we're recording.
Thank you. The time is 7:04 p.m. on Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. I'd like to call this Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting to order. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They're the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands. And as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Let it be. May I please have a motion to approve the agenda? Julie, you'll have to help me out here. I can't see very well.
Allison?
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Elaine.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? None, that carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Elaine, I just had this lovely picture of you. So I can't see the table. I'm guessing there are no declarations of pecuniary interest.
No.
Thank you. Receipt of the minutes. These are from December 10th, 2025. May I have a mover and a seconder to receive these minutes?
Madam Chair, I have Marilyn and Allison.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, right? That carries. There are no delegations this evening, but we have a couple of important matters for consideration. I'd like a mover and a seconder to put this on the table.
Joanne, I'll move.
Thanks, Joanne. Is there a second? Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, we have John.
Thank you, John. This is a memorandum from the Accessibility Advisory Town Hall parking. It's at the 30% design level. It's coming to us for comments and questions. We saw last night I don't know if it's called the Peace Park, the little area beside when you walk into the town hall, it's to the right-hand side. We saw a diagram that I believe proposes to level the parking towards the senior center, and I think put an additional, that would allow us to have additional spots. So would you like to, Greg, would you like to speak to this?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the intro, Councillor. So I know in the past, I think the last 3 years, parking here, especially here around Town Hall, has really been come up in virtually every meeting that we've had. And so I know that we are now currently said it's coming. Here we are. We are at a 30% design phase. As you mentioned, Councillor, and so last night was the community reflection space. That's what the project officially called. We'll see a little bit of that today, but last night was a larger presentation. We also saw that in December, where they came to really detail and thoroughly explain the space. Last night's presentation actually had a little more rendering and a little more detail. It made it look like a fuller picture So if you have an opportunity to kind of take a view on that on YouTube, by all means. But for tonight specifically, we've talked about increasing parking capacity, especially relooking at the accessible barrier-free parking spaces. We've talked in the past of, the proximity and the location of those barrier-free spots, specifically the two in the front by the flagpoles, not knowing if it's 2 or is it 4, how do we orient those, what does that look like? Safe routes between the senior center, the parking lot, and the town hall, and what does that look like? Accessible drop-off pickup areas, and that ease of navigation throughout with the different levels and the different turns, and some of the parking spaces are in between other parking spaces and behind flagpoles and things like that. So a lot of the comments that we've already, this committee has already brought up. What I wanted to do today is show how the good thing about the rendering that we have as the attachment today, under it you see the existing parking lot, and over top you see the new parking lot. Makes it a little confusing to see, so I'll go through it and try to explain it. By all means, if anyone has any questions, we can let you know. The purpose of today is really to get your feedback to move forward. So I can definitely bring that to the planning committee. We can implement that, and then we can proceed from there. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show the plan, which was in the attachment package. So just give me a sec. All right, there it is. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so here we are, John West Way, right up on the side, and then we have the entrance, the main entrance entering into Town Hall. So that's as we're seeing it here. I'm going to go slow. We're going to go kind of in order. We'll talk about it, and then if you have any questions, we can discuss this. So the community reflection space, as Councillor Gardner mentioned last night, was presented. Last month was presented to this committee. This is what's going to be here. A lot of the renderings that we saw and a lot of the feedback that we proposed didn't really change from, the feedback that we gave was added and contributed, but the design itself didn't really change. So that is the entrance. Now, as we enter, we have the traditional, right in front of the flagpoles, those 2 parallel parking spaces. Those are actually going to be removed, okay? And so the flagpoles will remain. Those 2 spaces will be removed and moved further along to the left as we see it on the screen. So we're going to enter, those 2 main spaces will be removed. We now have an elevated crossing here. So currently we have the red kind of bricks that show the crossing from that sidewalk towards the main doors of Town Hall. This time it will act not only as a speed bump, but an elevated crossing to cross from the curb straight across to Town Hall. So it acts as 2 measures, 1, traffic calming by having a speed bump elevation, but B, it also delineates the proper crossing for people going from one area to the other. And so we're going to keep going.
I like that.
To the north, we have 3 10-minute temporary drop-off spots. So in the past, those barrier-free spots that are right outside the front door have been used as temporary spaces. People would just park there, run inside, do what they had to do and run out. And we know that those are taking up spaces, the barrier-free spots, to people who need them. So what they have done is basically all of the pavement work that's currently in front of the front door will turn into parking spaces. So all that space that doesn't really get used will be added parking spaces that will be created here. So those 3 spots are going to be virtually right outside the front door here as the temporary spaces. To the left of those, we will have 4 barrier-free spaces, 2 type A's and 2 type B's, both with access aisles with ramps coming up. If we look closely, try to zoom in again. So here are our 10-minute temporary spaces. Then we have 2 new barrier-free spaces that are going to be put in. That is currently where the pavement work is. And then to the left of those are the 2 existing barrier-free spaces that are currently there. So we're just reallocating the front 2 spots over and creating temporary spaces as well. And then the electric and reserved parking spaces will remain. So those are going to stay. Some of the concrete work, so all of those hash marks that you see, all of that's going to be redone as well. That's a limited sidewalk with a big patch of concrete for the electric charging. All of that's going to be reworked and be more walkable as well. We're going to continue on the way. So as we see, and as was presented last night, this little kind of snippet of this new parking that is there towards the bottom of the screen. So this is part of the redesign of that kind of parking lot in between Town Hall and the Senior Center as well. So underneath you see 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 spaces that kind of parallel the top spaces. That's kind of the visitor spaces that we currently have. So those are going to be removed. Grading will be adjusted across the parking lot, and parking will now be kind of on an angle towards the Senior Center. By redeveloping this space and redesigning this space, we're gaining 17 parking spaces between the 2 properties. So from Town Hall down to the Senior Center, we're gaining an additional 17 parking spaces by doing this. So there is a clear walkway now from the existing path, which is going to change slightly. You can see to the left this light gray path as my cursor is going around, which is the existing one. So that will slightly change and turn over to go into that 1 parking spot, but there'll be a crosswalk painted on the ground right across to the front doors of the Senior Center.
Okay.
No parking between, so that'll go between the vehicles. No vehicles can go over top of that walkway. Currently kind of stops, and then you have to walk across the parking lot without that safety markings to get to the Senior Center. Again, so coming back up, so the parking will change to kind of go northeast to southwest on an angle versus east to west as it currently sits. So by doing this again, we're just changing the layout, moving some stuff, pushing it around. Drivability becomes easier, more movement for larger vehicles, things like that by having this, and then less concrete slabs to turn in and more painted lines. So it kind of opens it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then currently here, there's a crosswalk. Again, the crosswalk will remain with the tactile plates to cross, but there will be there's a proposed speed hump after the crosswalk in this case. So at the entrance to the right there, it's a raised crossing. So it doubles up, raised crosswalk and a speed bump. Whereas over here, this leads to the 3rd floor parking lot, will be the crosswalk and then the speed bump after that. That was a small change from, I think, when we originally saw it last year. And so moving down, just going to cover the front of the Senior Center. So currently the Senior Center parking lot does not meet AOTA requirements. The spaces, there are no type A spots. There is no access aisle for some of the access aisles are blocked. So we are going to be redesigning all of that. To the south of the main doors of the Senior Center, we're going to go back to the 3 spaces It was supposed to always be 3. I think there's 4 there right now. So we're gonna go back to the 3 spaces, the type A and 2 type B spots, with the access aisle there. And then they're just gonna fix up the curb cut that's currently there anyways. To the north of the main canopy entrance, there is currently the 1 large space without an access aisle. So we're gonna add back in the access aisle and just alternate type A and type B spots there. Again, where my cursor is, there's a faint gray line. This is where there's currently a curb cut and a curb that goes right across. That curb will be removed and 2 additional barrier-free parking spaces will be there. So we will be keeping the existing 13 barrier-free parking spaces that we currently have. We're just moving them up to the appropriate AODA standard requirement of the right size, the right width, and putting back the exercise. Now, right on the adjacent side, there is no curb ramp here. This is all a flush entrance. So because of that, there will be parking curbs that will be at the end of every parking spot, but right adjacent to the parking curb, it's all open. So the parking curb will kind of be in the middle of the stall, but otherwise that's a tactile plate that goes right across all of those parking spaces and a level entrance rather than a curb ramp. And then again, this space is right in front of the bocce courts there, will be just kind of shifted over and moved accordingly. And that is basically the parking lot update.
Thank you, Greg. Are there any comments, questions from the committee? I
Joanne,
can't.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I've talked to the fellow that works inside the senior center a few times. We're out here working hard to see what the parking lot's about. I've been there on different days, and I particularly find that the Wednesday is exceptionally heavily booked with things going on. It doesn't matter if you go at, before lunch, after lunch, or whatever, you can't get into the parking lot, period. Anyway, I go every Wednesday for choir, and but I've been there on other days for other things and pick up other things, and I really do find that it's really heavy on certain days. So I'm wondering if they cannot be asked to rebalance their days by having maybe one thing done on a different day than it's already being done on. And, and maybe that would spread out some of the use of people using the parking lot, too.
So through you, Madam Chair, that comment has already been relayed. I've had a couple of emails from residents as well, specifically this past week and the week prior for a similar issue. Individuals are parking on the street just because the lot is full. Again, we're gaining 17 spots. Hopefully that helps with the parking in the inside. But as you're mentioning, this is more of a programming conversation, not necessarily, parking lot specific. I mean, if we could have, I think if the senior center and the association could have their way, probably build a 3-story garage and have ample amount of parking for their needs, but unfortunately we can't. So yeah, it does come down to programming. The coordinator, the adult coordinator that works out of that building is also aware, and as I presented that feedback to him as well. So it's the best we can do, but yeah, it does come down to what happens in that building at a certain day, certain time, and to really look at the schedule as a larger picture.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me? Oh,
Yes.
because it says that I'm on driving mode.
Yes.
That seems like a practical suggestion. Could I just ask who is joining us at the side of the table?
It's Rocco.
Oh, Rocco, hi, thanks for coming. Are there any other?
I'm just here to observe.
Okay, fine, I just can't see you. Are there any other comments? Yes, thanks, Allison.
Any reason why we didn't increase accessible spots, just. And on principle, would we consider moving the 10-minute spots?
Yeah.
To the left of the access spots so that access is priority over your 10-minute?
I agree. Can we do that, Greg?
Can ask them. They can say no.
Well, no, there
We-
must be a
We also
reason.
I
Can we
agree with
cover
that.
the spots? Can the canopy extend, or can there be some way to they're close enough to the building that we protect them from the elements getting them?
Thank you. Greg, is there a reason? It doesn't make sense to me why we wouldn't have the accessible spots as close as possible to the front door.
I guess people would use the accessible spots, right? Is that
So the first thought that I have, sorry, just making notes here, is the access aisles. If we are looking at it, there's the dark hash marks here. So the proposed is to provide a concrete apron. I've asked for clarity in what that exactly means. I think it means we're removing the stairs and putting a slope to get in, so there will be no more steps to get into the front door. But if we're
Okay.
looking at it, that access aisle being where the 10-minute spots are may interfere with that slope, which is probably why they pushed it over. In saying that, we can definitely ask the question.
Thank
They
you.
are the engineers and the architects to see if it can work. Then let's see if we can make it work. Personally, I see why we can't. I don't know if there's a technical reason for doing what they've done.
Okay, thank you. You'll get back to us on that.
Absolutely.
Allison?
Can we get like a 3D real life visual of what that slope might look like? Because from my perspective, with a mobility device, going up a ramp into a building is worse than having a step entering from the side and being level with the door as I enter. Am I making sense? I do not like ramp means door.
I don't see, through you, Madam Chair, I don't see a slope listed on here.
Oh, you mentioned changing the grading at the front of the building.
Yeah, the
right?
concrete apron.
Right, so
Yeah,
is
I
that?
don't see a slope listed, so I'd have to
Oh, I
ask.
just think they're leveling things off.
Yeah,
Okay.
a concrete apron just means basically it's like there is a ramp because there's 2 steps, right? So naturally there's going to be a flow, but by re-leveling the whole parking lot, there may not be as like that slope to begin with. Yeah, we can definitely ask. I don't see a
Please.
slope. Usually there's a percent slope that's listed, but I don't see that.
It's a good
Really
question.
work.
Thank you for checking that out.
I have one more question. Do we know how often the accessible spots are full here? Are they ever full?
Always.
They're always full. So if there's 17 net new spots, why wouldn't we add 1 or 2 more? Accessible.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 9 in front of the senior center.
Yeah, so the existing 4 spots that are in front of Town Hall are remaining, and the existing 9 spots that are in front of the senior center are remaining. To my comment, yes, they're always full. In all fairness, as Joanne mentioned earlier, the parking lot's pretty much always full. So just an increase in spaces. Based on the 117 spaces, we are well over the AODA requirement to begin with. So, having the 13 spaces, I believe it's 1 plus 3%, so we need 4 spots for 114 spaces, probably 5 spots, and we have 13.
Well,
So-
given that this is a senior center, it makes
Yeah.
sense. But Allison, to your question, I'm at the town hall fairly often. rarely do I see those parking spots in front of the accessible parking spots in front of the town hall occupied.
There
So-
are days that their parking lot's virtually empty. The four in front of town hall are empty. And there are days of the 4 spots, we have 6 cars parking in them. So specifically those 2 at the front door of town hall, they park vertically and perpendicular to the spots and they get 4 cars across.
Maybe upon special events, they are used more.
Yes.
So the conversation again was because of the reflection space and building out more of that space, that's why those 2 spots are being removed. Building out that space, providing more safety, those flagpoles do get vehicle love quite a bit. And so by removing those spaces, putting that curb, not only do we protect individuals as they are meeting in that space, more shrubbery, it's more hidden, that sort of thing. But we're removing, again, I guess, the vehicles away from where people are staying. So it's also a safety aspect spots.
I have
Yeah,
asked.
absolutely.
Sorry, I have asked. I don't think it's appropriate that the spots for what are we calling it? The e-spots for people who want to who have electric cars. I mean, I wish they could be somewhere else because people park. It takes a while to charge. I would like to see those as just regular parking spots, but it has something to do with the infrastructure. So they cannot be moved, or they probably could be moved, but it would be costly. So I don't, Rocco, do you want to comment on that? Moving.
Counselor Gardner, I don't think I'm allowed. I'm just here. That's,
Oh, but if Counselor Gertner asks you, I think you're allowed, but yes, protocol is such, but I don't know, but I would expect that to move them would be expensive. And they seem to be like that in all of our buildings, so I guess they need to be close to the building to get the servicing. What is and why do we need to know about the monolithic concrete retaining wall? I think that's what it is. That's against the town hall. Is that because it's where the accessible parking spots are? Is that of any real interest to us, right?
So I believe it's just, again, town hall has been around, there's been some changes over many, many years. I think this retaining wall just helps to push, if I'm not mistaken, there's currently a walk, a steep slope of dirt and grass that's there.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is by extending that walkway into the dirt, they have to remove some of that dirt and that mound to make that walkway go right across.
Okay.
Which point a wall will be put there, and then I think that's, again, not necessarily from an accessibility perspective, more of a engineering function item.
No, that's fair enough, because we need to have that walkway. Any other questions? Is there anybody like me on Zoom?
Madam Chair, yes, we have Elaine and Lois and John. But I don't see any hands up for questions.
Okay. Well, then, let's have a vote. No, Elaine?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right forum for this, but
Try
when I
it.
was at the performance hall, there was a question that was brought up. Is this the correct forum for accessibility at the performance hall?
Through you, Madam Chair, Elaine, I think just maybe a little more detail. Maybe we can bring it up under new business, depending on what it is.
Okay. Would you like me to send something through on new business?
That would be good, and maybe we have
Yeah.
to bring it back to another committee, but let's see what it
Certainly,
is.
Yeah.
certainly. It was just
Yeah,
something
bring
that
up
was
your-
brought up in discussion when I was volunteering the other day.
Thank you.
Yeah, bring it up under new business. If it's
Certainly.
for the-
I will take care of that. Thank you very much.
Actually, Greg, I have a question. It says there's an accessible drop-off area. Where is that? Is that in front of, I don't see where that is.
Sorry, where do you?
I don't know.
See that?
It says,
Oh,
I don't know if it's on the drawing or if it's in the
Oh,
report.
yeah, it's in the memo. So that was just more of a comment that was been brought up in the past by the committee.
Right,
Being those accessible spaces and people using them as drop off, temporarily
Oh.
parking while they run in.
okay.
And those uses. So, yeah, just bringing up that we have kind of specific drop off, 10-minute, go in, do your thing and leave, and separate to the
Thank you, but they're not accessible spots. They're just
the
regular.
drop offs are not, correct.
Okay, I don't know where I got the accessible drop off from. Thank you.
There's lots of accessible people with groups like chats and different things like that drop people off at the senior's door so that they can go in. And so the sidewalks right there and the cutout areas
I
right
see.
there for them. Get right out and go in, and lots of vehicles pull up.
Okay, good, excellent. Okay, we'll have a vote on this then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you. And now we have another big one. I think, John, you were on the committee, the accessibility plan. And that is, we've got a link to that. Greg, do you want to speak to this before the committee comments? This plan went from 2022 to 2020, goes to 2026.
Yes. So, through you, Madam Chair, so this is our standing item where it allows me to basically provide the committee an update on where we are. Back in December, I believe we provided a line-by-line breakdown of the multi-year accessibility plan, what's been completed, what's still outstanding, and that sort of thing. It's in December, it was November maybe. So that breakdown was provided. At this point, we're in our final year of the multi-year accessibility plan. For the most part, we're on track to virtually complete all the items that were set out in the multi-year accessibility plan. This parking is one of those items that we just showed. So if the project can be completed this year, that's one more thing checked off the box. There's quite a bit of things that have actually been checked off as complete, saying, back in 2023, 2024, they weren't possible. And then technology has changed and things have changed over the years. And now we're kind of resurfacing them to try and complete as much as we can. Parking being one of them, especially during our downtown, throughout our downtown.
Greg, there's no chart that says, done, in progress, delayed or canceled. There's a lot of great stuff in the plan, but I have no idea what. Are you able to do a chart for us?
So
There was
as I
probably an
mentioned, Councillor,
original.
the attachment is the document, the multi-year
Yeah.
accessibility plan, the strategic document. The line-by-line item was provided at, I can't remember if it was December or November's meeting. So it's been a couple of months. But one of our last meetings, I did provide a line-by-line, what's still outstanding and what has been completed.
Okay.
And this item specifically for tonight will just be providing you what we did at a glance in 2025, talking about compliance, But I'll go through my list, and then of course, if there's anything else, any other questions the committee has, we can definitely discuss that at that
Okay.
point.
I
Sure.
think it'd be a good idea to take a meeting where these are presented together. So we can actually go from the plan to the chart. But I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you.
Sounds good. So back in 2025, actually a lot went on in 2025, specifically for really diving in, looking at that multi-year accessibility plan, figuring out where we are with it, where we need to go, what needs to be completed, and just working with the respective divisions and departments to complete those respective projects and just get an update. Can they be done? Are they possible? That sort of thing. So that was done. Overall, the town, so I, as accessibility advisor, reviewed 115 different site plans throughout the year. A lot of those, I mean, we did see a handful that did come to the committee. The more of the public facing ones, the ones that the committee would have a little more influence in, doctor spaces, medical offices, things like that. A lot of the smaller ones, maybe they were meeting requirements for some of them just are trying to build a pool in their backyard, not necessarily come to this committee. But in saying that, 2025 was also a compliance reporting year. So we did submit our compliance to the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility after, I believe, our December meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Did
1
they
or 2
finally
weeks later.
accept it?
Yeah, so we did submit full compliance. They sent us an email back saying, we received your submission and we have not heard since. So not hearing is a good thing because 2 weeks after Ottawa submitted, they got a compliance audit, similar to what we received back in May, June, July, August, and September. So the good thing is we haven't heard from them. We did submit compliance. We are compliant. The good thing is we went through this audit a couple months prior to submitting our compliance report. So a lot of the examples that were used in my submission for compliance basically came right out of our audit. So no issues there.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned. We did update our website as well. So we did post our 2025 accessibility update. So every year we are required to provide an update of things that, we're still doing, things that are ongoing, things that were new last year that not necessarily done the year before, which I'm going to cover in this kind of topic here. So a few items at a high level, the ongoing implementation of our diversity, equity, inclusion strategic plan, which I did present to council at the committee of the whole last night, a 6-page report on our DE&I strategic plan, where we are for the most part. We are still outstanding on 7 items, 3 or 4 of which will be completed easily this year as they have to do a training. And we are launching a new learning management system through HR. So on the accessibility side of it, we will be utilizing that learning management system to have already reviewed the AODA training. It's a little better than what the province puts out and the Human Rights Commission, but it's kind of a combination of all of it and then a little bit more. So we will be implementing that module for all staff once it goes live. So it will be more of a refresher to the 400 plus staff that currently work with us. And then as staff get onboarded, they will be completing that training as well. So less manual follow-up on my end, but so more automated in that sense. And a lot of our training will be done through that as well.
Okay.
We'll continue. We've continued to provide at special events accessible shuttle service and barrier-free additional parking at a lot of our major events. Brickfest, for example, we utilize the Machel Park parking lot and put up the orange barriers and create barrier-free parking spaces for those who need it, because that lot only has one spot on the floor. We create our own. So we still do that. Elections are also coming up. we are looking to add barrier-free spots to our election sites as well in that same method. We do have temporary signs which we'll put up as well. From our playground assessments with Access Now, we've completed 25 of our 69 playgrounds last year alone. We did start late last year. I think we started mid-June, if I'm not mistaken. So we were quite active doing quite a few parks, putting in a lot of steps throughout the summer, as late as I think our last one was done early October before the weather stopped cooperating with us. So the remaining playgrounds, the good things are they're medium ones and smaller ones, so they should be quick. So we could probably get through the remaining 40 some odd playgrounds this year. And then Access Now will provide us a report per playground, which will be shared with our Parks Department as well. So we've already used some of that feedback as we are Parks is starting to look to update some of the parks. Flurry Park is a good example. I think our manager came to this committee to discuss Flurry Park sometime last year. But as we hear more about what that park's going to look like, definitely share with this committee as well. And then our ongoing involvement. So as the accessibility advisor, I am a key party in virtually all engineering and capital projects moving forward, which is great. So any project that I feel this committee needs to hear about, parking, good example, I will be bringing to this committee, or I'll have staff, as we did with the last one, the reflection space. Good example, we had our consultants come and talk about it. The downtown promenade update, we had our consultants come and talk about it to our committee last month as well. So anything, wherever I can, this committee will definitely be involved. So that was 2025. Upcoming in 2026, of course, as our multi-year accessibility plan is ending this year, we will be working on it. So we are currently in the midst of working through the procurement documents to bring on a consultant to assist us with the multi-year accessibility plan creation. This plan will be 2027 to 2030. So this will be in line with the next council term. And so we'll start looking at every council term will have its own multi-year accessibility plan. Legislatively, I think we need to do one every 6 years. We then went every 5 years. I'm looking to get it down to every 4 years so that we are in line with the council term at this point. Elections, I mentioned earlier, are coming up at the end of October, on the 26th. Currently working through our accessible election plan. And our town clerk is on board later this month. They'll review the election plan. We'll have it posted. I've already had a look at our election website, the accessibility page on our elections website. So that plan will be there, and a lot of our accessibility information will also be listed on the election page for elections. And finally, we are starting to work on National Accessibility Week, which we are aiming for the end of May. Although National Accessibility Week technically starts the last Sunday of May, which is May 31st to June 6th, we are looking to do our activities throughout the last week of May. Again, similar to last year, partnering with our community services team and working with our community to do bringing all our sport community organizations with parasport and Special Olympics and all our other agencies in town, bringing them all on board, doing some drop-in activities, some triad activities, some free swims, sensory swims. We're trying to get our sledges again for sledge hockey. We're going to try to get the wheelchairs back again for wheelchair basketball. We're actually looking to create a permanent wheelchair basketball program in town that will be a regular drop-in program. So we're trying to see what that's going to look like. And if we can get chairs, I believe they may be donated to us, or else we'll rent them. We'll see what that looks like. Still in talks, but we are looking to, again, similar event to last year for those that attended, but we're just trying to get bigger. So because it's the end of May, we are kind of proactively launching National Accessibility Week by doing these activities. It might change, but based on timing, the beginning of June starts to get tight with summer camps and other programming ending, so it's a lot harder to do at the beginning of June. But that's all I have for our update on my end.
Thank you, that's a lot. Are there any questions or comments about anything Greg said or anything in the plan? Greg, I would like to know, it's 11 of 14 of the plan is talking about 2022 to 26 transportation goals. I mean, perhaps the consultant did this. I think we used to do this in-house. Prepare the town for self-automated vehicles, ensuring accessibility. I don't think that's in our view at the moment, is it?
And so to you, Madam Chair, it's been discussed. Currently, there is one automated self-driving vehicle in town, from my understanding. And so it's they're starting their little mobility devices with kind of a hood and a cover and kind of like a cover motorcycle, if you will. So they do, there are self-driving vehicles out there. Uber, I believe, has them, in the United States. It's a matter of time before some of this starts to come into Canada because mainstream. That's one item that most likely will be moved forward into the next multi-year accessibility plan, just because right now, at the current discussion level, it's something that's in the back of the mind, but not necessarily something that needs to actively be moved on because there's one in town.
Thank you. Also under transportation goals, I didn't understand this. It's still a low cost vehicle census program that means parking and food space. Would you just say what that is?
So to you, Madam Chair, correct me if I'm wrong, you were asking about the low cost sensor parking.
What is that?
Okay, you're just muffled there, so I just wanted
Oh,
clarity. That was what you're looking for. So, at the GO station, when you see the sign when you enter and it says there's 300 spots available at level 3, 200 spots. So that is the low sensor parking. So that is part of what's being looked at as the town-wide parking study. The parking lot here at Town Hall is a separate project to the town-wide parking study. Town-wide parking study also includes, again, the same sensors to track for bylaw as well.
Yeah.
So if people are parking incorrectly or they're over the allotted time, these sensors will also trigger that. What I would like to see is also an option to say, if you're going to go down to the downtown core and you want to park around town square, we do have on-street and off-street parking. You can pre-look to say, I need a barrier-free spot. Look, there's 3 available. So before you even leave the house, you'll know how many spaces are available before coming in. So that, when we first looked at it, was way too costly and not something that was feasible to implement. The low-cost sensor program isn't low cost. So it was kind of checked off as, okay, we looked into it, it's not possible. But now, as technology is changing, it seems to be more viable solution. And it may not be sensors in the ground, but more so cameras in the air that could provide that sensor opportunity. So it is something that is on the radar. It is something that was presented to the consultants. I did bring it up. And it is something as one of the recommendations. Access twofold. One, from an accessibility perspective, it shows how many spaces are available around town. 2, if people are parking them incorrectly, bylaw can definitely, that was one of the topics that always brought up. People are parking in them, they stay there too long, so on and so forth. It can also curb that and assist bylaw, provide those tickets, handle the tow, whatever the case may be. So, but again, if you're parking in the town square parking lot, you can park there all day. It's more of the on-street parking where there's parking limitations.
Yes.
that would come into effect.
Thank you. And thank you. The last bullet is about accessible scooter parking. You kind of have to be fearless to use an accessible scooter, but did we get, nobody is smiling at that. Okay. But it's a challenge. I have seen people with accessible scooters, and I certainly welcome that form of mobility. Are we thinking of doing accessible parking spots, or will that just remain on the list?
So to you, Madam Chair, if I'm not mistaken, the senior center has 2 scooter parkings right outside the front doors. They're covered in snow currently, so we had a lot of snow. The one on the north and one on the south side of the front doors as you look at them. The idea here, so again, this was looked at, we could look at providing scooter parking spaces on the walkways and kind of off the parking lot, so they can, put their scooters, get out and either walk to or use their mobility aids throughout the building, but to provide electric charging as scooter parking is currently not something that we have the infrastructure to do.
And I encourage anybody who sees snow, I know it's been challenging, but I've called in two parking spots, accessible parking spots, where they were using them for snow storage. And one was right next to the medical center that I go to, and one was a restaurant. So it's no excuse. I know the snow's been bad, but don't block an accessible spot. Of all spots to block. Okay, do you have something to say, Joanne?
Is there, I'm sorry, I haven't checked, but is there scooter parking at the performance hall? That just something that came up to mind right now.
Good.
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so, but there would be room, because
Yes,
we sometimes have
there is room, and considering the people that do come, especially in the afternoon performances.
In the good weather, yeah, especially.
Yes, definitely in the good weather, not the last few days. Might be something we could consider.
That is a great
idea. Because it was brought up, being a volunteer over there, it was brought up.
Okay, well, and that's great feedback. I've seen a truck actually parked in front on that sidewalk part or concrete part. So there definitely would be room there for scooter parking without rearranging the parking spaces at all, Greg. I don't know if there's, there is, you can get up there because there's a ramp.
There is a ramp.
Yeah. Could you put that on your list? It's, it would be respectful.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Okay. Just to inquire into it, as it has been brought up to me.
But it would also be respectful to actually have at least one spot, and then if we see that that's getting used, then I don't think, Greg, I don't think it would be really any cost. So right in front, not where the cars are parking, but up on the that huge concrete sidewalk.
To Madam Chair, if there's the ability to do so, I think that's exactly where it would be. I just don't know. Again, it's paint on the ground if we are to do it. I just don't know, again, for walkability, entrance, traffic flow, if there's a line of devices or in the spring, summer months, we have the large planters that are lining those front doors as well that get removed in the winter. So again, just looking at the bigger picture, and if it's possible, I don't see why not. But if it's not possible, I'll try to get an answer as to why it's not possible.
So we'll just look into it then.
Yes, please. I don't think those planters are in the way. I don't really know. But I don't think those anyway, Greg, it's a great idea. It would be something for the town to show not only respect to people with scooters, but to show that we really take this seriously. So thanks, Elaine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And maybe set precedent for other towns.
Yeah, it's, hey, I love it. That would be something good newsworthy, but then anyway.
Yeah, we're getting ahead.
We're getting ahead of, okay, so I think
If you just if we can look into it and see if it's feasible and then go from there.
okay, Joanne, did you have a further question?
No, I was fine with everything.
Okay, so then a vote to approve the motion on the table, which is to receive this.
Pardon me, Madam Chair, we need a mover and a seconder, please.
Oh, my goodness, thank you. Well, we need a mover and a seconder.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
I think we're at new business, are we? And we've done, yeah, we're at new business. I think Elaine, you had something of new business.
Hold on here.
Okay, it may be required to be an agenda item, but Greg may, I can't remember what it was, Elaine, sorry. But Greg may be able to speak to it.
No, I believe it was about what I just discussed earlier.
Okay, thank you.
So
Scooter
thank
parking.
you. It was already submitted.
And Greg is great at setting up the agenda, but if there is anything, we only have, Greg, how many more meetings do we have?
So we
Two?
don't meet July and August.
No, I
We will
know.
be meeting every month for the
Okay.
rest of the year as a legislative committee, and we
Okay.
are committing to continuing through the election period.
Yes.
So we will
Yes.
continue to meet throughout the year.
Okay.
And I believe this committee's term, if I'm not mistaken, ends February or March of next year.
Whenever we get
so
the
the
new
new term.
committee in place.
New
Okay.
council comes in, the new election cycle, but that means we still continue. So once all of that happens kind of in the back end, this committee will continue. All the other committees may not, but this one will continue.
No,
just
this
because-
is the only committee I believe that continues because as you said, it's legislated. I mean,
Yeah.
even the Heritage Committee isn't legislated.
So in saying that,
Yeah.
if I believe our next meeting is March 11th is what we are scheduled for. That is also March break, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's the week after?
We got one
The first week of March is.
this year, March break starts.
Yeah.
So we avoid March break.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get keys.
Gotcha.
But Greg, if there's nothing pressing, this is the only committee that meets every month. So thank you, everybody. It used to always be that way with committees, but it was changed. So thank you, everybody, for your commitment. And Greg, if there is a month where there isn't enough to discuss, well, you know where I'm going with this.
We've canceled meetings in the past, like last month, for example.
Yeah.
There's just over the holidays, just wasn't enough to discuss. So if needed, we will cancel. And again, we cancel 1 week prior, so everyone's aware. Email and phone communication. Joanne, or else emails, and then we'll cancel the meeting invite. But that decision will be made 1 month prior to the following meeting. We are scheduled for March 11th. Last night, the Victoria Hall project was tabled at Committee of the Whole. A lot of discussion on that project. If it moves forward, that will be a project that will be coming to this committee as well, probably March, April, as they're looking to go to tender and continue that project later this year. So I chatted with the staff, so that's something else that's upcoming. And then as we progress through the town hall parking design, that might finalize, just be tabled. And then some of the other work, but again, the new multi-year accessibility plan and dealing with what do this committee want to see in the new plan in a workshop, that will also be coming later this year as well, with or without the consultant, depending on timelines.
So it'll come to this committee?
Yes, that's my
Yes.
goal.
Good. Oh,
I
good.
would like this committee to approve our next plan. That's my goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, I think we could call for an adjournment. Does anybody want to stay? Okay,
This is our shortest meeting.
a motion, I need a motion to adjourn. John, we have to put you on the
I'll
record.
make the motion.
You make
Joanne.
a motion. John, you want to be on the record for this meeting? Maybe John's not there. Okay.
Sorry, I'll second it. Eileen was first.
Okay.
I was on mute.
Perfect. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? I'm sure there's no one. It carries. Have a good month, everybody. Or
Thank you.
Hey, Warren.
okay, let's see what we can do about that.
Well done.
Bye-bye.